second. It's preparing to live stream the meeting. And here you go. What are your questions, guys? Please start commenting the questions and we will take them up one by one. Okay. Looks like we are going live on YouTube. Just give me 1 second. Last 30 seconds. Okay. Hope all of you have told your family, right? You are going to have some amazing fun today, learn something amazing, and type yes in the comment box. All of you type yes in the comment box. Okay. Okay, awesome. It is happening.
You can go on FB Live also, I think.
I cannot go simultaneously on both.
Oh, okay, okay.
I think, yeah. Okay, we're already on. We're already live on YouTube. Jagdish Ahuja, the man, the mission, the mentor, the trainer. Okay, so Jagdish, welcome to this YouTube channel. I mostly have traders in my YouTube channel, my audience, but I mean, according to me, you need to have a sense of what's happening outside, whether you are a trader, intraday, long term, doesn't matter. Okay, so who is a better person than Jagdish Ahuja himself, who has seen the market for 30 years, who's just coming out of a meeting with all the veterans in the stock market to enlighten us as to how we can navigate the stock market. Okay, so first question, what should we do now, Jagdish? If I am an investor and if I am already invested in mutual funds and because of some reasons I am not out, should I hold on? Should I exit? Should I add more? Okay, I know we cannot answer. I understand the limitation in terms of giving recommendations. I completely understand that. But what is your overall view? Because those are the burning questions. Other than the COVID affecting us, these are some of the burning questions.
Okay. First of all, thanks for having me here. And yes, please understand. First, you should understand which pitch you're playing on. Very simple. Are you playing? I mean, if I have to compare stock market to cricket, I have just to say yes.
2020.
You have to compare it. Is it a batting wicket or a bowler's pitch? Exactly. So you have to play the game according to the pitch. Everybody has to respect the pitch. Whether it's Sachin Tendulkar, whether it's Virat Kohli, or the best batsman in the world, or the best bowler. So the first thing one has to understand is in which sort of market are we right now. And a simple trend line. I'm sure your audience would know about just a simple trend line. If you take on the monthly charts, way down, and you take on the Nifty, and you'll find that 9,450 was the magic figure where it broke, where it actually told you, and the market just tells you in only one language, and that's mathematics. If you understand mathematics, you understand the markets. There's no other language the market can speak to you in. If 9,400 is less than 9,450, you got your answer. If it's 9,500, you got your answer.
Yeah. Did we learn some mathematics today? All of you type yes. If we learned some mathematics and probability today, type yes in the comment box. Yeah, thank you. We did actually look at that when we looked at how mathematics and trading plays a major role. And quickly to give you, Jagdish, tell you why I am so passionate about marrying these two, trading and mathematics, is because I am the son of two mathematics teachers.
Wow.
My dad, who is 78, is passionate about stock market even now. My mom is also home tuitions lady who used to teach probability in my home. So when I was in 8th, I taught 10th people probability, the toss coin example and all of that stuff.
Awesome.
So that's where I got my roots there. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So where were we on? Yeah. So as simple as that. Now we are in a bearish market. Clear. And bear rules are different from bull rules. Exactly the opposite, like a mirror. What do you do in a bull market? You wait for a decline to buy, because declines are temporary, and rises are permanent. In the sense, you get rises very fast and they stay there. Keep on getting new highs, new lows, but you'll get higher highs. So what is the thing? Whenever you're waiting to catch the ball behind. That's it. Whenever it falls, you want to catch it. That's it. And sell it again higher. Now you have to flip yourself. Now you're in a bowler's wicket. So what do you have to do? You have to sell on rises. Your first transaction should be a sell. And your next transaction should be a buy. So you're playing exactly the opposite of what you used to do. So now you wait for the market to show a direction upwards, goes up, starts getting saturated, sell. Why? There are reasons behind it. So first of all, we must understand that today market liquidity is poor. Money is literally, cash is king and money is the emperor. You have money in your wallet, you'll get anything for a bargain. So what is going to happen is these type of conditions and continuous sellings by FI. FIs are just relentlessly selling out. Now sovereign funds have started to sell in our markets. And the rumor is that one of the top Norwegian, one of the top, I should not name the fund, but it's a big $650 billion fund, which is now, looking at liquidating. So you can imagine worldwide what sort of pressure is going to come on. So all these things will come together. Bad news comes it always comes in hordes, like a bunch of bananas, no, tucked together. So it doesn't come, like one, like a peanut. It doesn't come like that. You think it's over and suddenly you'll get again 5 more bananas.
So we will be seeing some more pain in the economy and also in the market.
Yeah. Okay. So that keeps the market under pressure.
Okay.
So what tends to happen is every rise is a temporary rise. It just gets a chance to breathe, pressure again. Gets a chance to breathe, pressure again. So this is the sort of market you're playing in. So once you understand the sort of market you're playing in, you start adjusting your game, your strategy to that market. So we are vulnerable today. Our markets are weak today. Our markets are bleeding today. Our markets are, money is getting withdrawn from the system. There's no fresh money sort of coming in. People haven't had the chance to look at their bank accounts. People haven't had the chance to liquidate. There's been a lockdown. We are in unprecedented times. This is one time in history we have never ever seen, and possibly, I'm sure I'll be telling my grandchildren also the same thing, that, boss, trust me, this is, I've survived this. I have to put a big badge, survivor. I've survived at least 5-6 crashes like this, but
all of us have survived. 24 people who are here, and then all the people who are watching this. So that's what I'm talking about. It's the attitude of gratitude that you talk about, right? This is your famous quote. The attitude of gratitude will take you to the altitude, to your desired attitude.
Yeah.
There is never a better time on the earth ever for us to count our blessings now, because we have shelter, we have food, we are survived.
And your heart is still beating.
Our heart is still beating. All of you type awesome in the comment box. Okay, if you think you are blessed to be one in this, you are seeing this, and you are. So back to the conversation, Jagdish.
Yeah.
Which is, should we now be only worried, or how should we start thinking from an intelligent investor?
Now, are you looking at investor or trading?
Investing. Only investing. Okay. So I want your insights on investing, and maybe we'll take some tips on trading later. But is your expertise more on trading or investing?
I bet both ways.
Okay. But before I come to that question, Jagdish, why don't you give us a little bit more about your background?
Okay. So
who are you?
Okay. So I'm Jugdeesh Ahuja, who has been a graduate from St. Joseph's Commerce College in Bangalore University.
Right.
Yeah, got a 20th rank there. Got into family business, didn't enjoy it, was boring. Told my dad, this is not for me. I need a better, white collar job. I want to work 2 hours a day. In those days, the stock market used to work from 12 to 2. A friend of mine introduced me to the stock market, started applying for IPOs. Then we found that, commissions were too much. Then I told my dad, I want to save on the commissions. I want to become an authorized assistant. Worked under a broker for 3 years, 1986 to 88, 85 to 88, and then brought my own card, Annapurna and Company. Went on to become, in 98 95 became a director. Again, got re-elected 98. Then went on to become treasurer, vice president, president, and president emeritus, to such an extent that I am the youngest president on any stock exchange in the whole world.
All of you type, this is awesome. I mean, all of you type awesome again, because it's a pleasure for all of us to hear from you. Okay, one is you understand the gap. I mean, you're not like you don't understand our. I mean, not just the millennials, but also that 35, 40ish, and you have seen that this world and that world.
So
Great to have you on this. Yeah, go ahead.
I always say I started with handhelds, and so with hand signals to handles. So we used to actually trade on the ring, and we used to, we used to start with hand signals, like this is 5, this is 500, this is 5,000, like that. So, and this is buy, this is sell, and we should shout from far. I mean, with hand signals. And
now everything is now happening on the mobile.
And now I'm doing it on handhelds. So, from hand signals to handhelds, I've seen it all.
Wow. Okay. And you have also seen this shift from conventional broking to the discount broking, and even now almost everybody is now moving the discount broking way.
Absolutely.
I think you are the one who has witnessed this very, very clearly. Although I have seen it, but not very distinctly. I mean, because by the time I wanted to do trading, I mean, majorly, so Zerodha was already there. And then many other companies were there.
Yeah. Thanks, of course, to my good friend Nitin Kamath. He's been a pioneer of sorts. And literally, initially, all the stockbrokers, he was the most hated stockbroker in the community. Because he was doing discount. But now, then, it is like that old adage. If you can't fight them, join them. So everybody starts like joining the discount broking bandwagon. And today, full service brokers are also offering you discount broking. Albeit with lower, things they can offer you.
Right. So back to the pandemic and investing and economy. So today when we were talking, Jagdish, you said economy and markets, they are linked and not linked. Can you explain? Because the one thing starts first, the other one catches up later.
Yes.
Can you give us those?
So let's take you back to June 2019. Post June 2019, what was happening in all around the world? There was a trade war going on between China and USA. And what was happening to the whole world? The whole world was in a sort of a comatose, to such an extent that there was a recession literally in Singapore. At that point of time, for the first time, Singapore said, sorry, we can't meet our 2-quarter numbers. Not 1 quarter, but 2 quarters, consecutive quarters. They had a degrowth in their GDP. So that started the whole ball rolling, that the world was slowing down and protectionism was, coming up. It was just that at this time, that things started patching up in January, that the world was getting ready to, take off again, that we landed with this infection. And the whole world got bit by this bug. Literally, our markets are currently, bitten by this bug and are like a patient. And this patient is right now in ICU. The only thing different between a normal patient and this patient is this patient will definitely live. Whereas a normal patient may die, stock market will live whether we live or not.
So nice explanation.
The moment we understand that as a patient, you're going to live, you're going to survive it, then it's just a question of when. When are you going to get out of the ICU? It's not the question that you will never get out. You will get out. It's just a question of when. The point is between this when and today, there's a lot of if and buts, a lot of gray things. The US curve has gone up, 1.1 million people, almost 60,000 deaths. It's a huge figure. Today, on my Zoom call, one of the panelists mentioned, Mr. Tulsian mentioned, I think, he said, US is having a death rate of 1 a minute. That is how serious it is. So yes, and this is something unprecedented because nothing like this has ever come, close to us. We've seen SARS, we've seen Ebola, we've seen HIV. Hota hai, it happens to others, but it never comes on your doorstep. And today it's actually locked your door, literally. And you become the big boss, you become the participant in the big boss, and Modi ji is giving you the boss is giving you like, okay, tonight or tomorrow night you come out at 9 o'clock for 9 minutes, come out with some lights. So what is happening is the markets are currently in that stage, of ICU, and this could extend. In all probability, I think the curve will flatten. This whole thing will peak. Maybe the peak I'm talking, it will not go away, but the peak, like right now, I saw a good photograph of two nurses, giving a fist bump to each other in the ICU in Italy. Second day in a row, the figures are stagnant, virtually there. That is the sign what you're looking for, because the markets always discount the future. So what was happening? Now coming back to what I was telling you, what was happening? There was a trade war going on. There was a deceleration. GST is not doing well. Government is planning measures here. Everybody is complaining. Economy is slow. But what happens to our markets? Markets are rising. Economy is slowing. Markets are rising. And everybody says, I don't know what is happening. Then what happens? Suddenly everybody changes and says, no, leave the small caps, leave the mid caps, buy only large caps, buy the costly stocks. And then everybody jumped into it. So, all these sort of things happened.
All the mid cap and small caps lost.
Exactly. Because, people felt, oh, there's no use of holding them. We are holding this Dutch stock, but this other stock keeps on getting costlier and costlier, and it just flies as if there's no resistance at all. So there was, what was happening was basically there was a tension being created between the actual ground reality and the markets. And the market was waiting for a trigger. The gun was loaded. It was just waiting who pulls the trigger. And the trigger came as the virus. And that was the last straw on the camel's back.
And it was deadly.
Yes, it was a pack of cards then. And suddenly one led to another, one led to another. Because never in the history of mankind has a city been locked down. Never in the history of mankind have 5 cities been locked down, 5.11 million people. In China, of course, they could do it. It's communism. We really don't know what happens there. But they were locked. They were locked. The city was locked. Imagine.
I have heard they have sealed the houses also.
They've gone and nailed them also, they say. I really don't know. But, these are all things we can't talk about. Whatever has happened there is crazy, but they've been able to control it. And today, 2/3 of China is already open. That's the beauty of it. I mean, they've been able to open it even now. So what happened was, this creates, between reality, what happens, people look at today's situation and try to compare the markets. And that's the wrong thing to do. If that was the case, then market should go every time when the stock market in USA now, suddenly the figures are rising. The markets aren't falling so much. Why? What happened? Why is the VIX already come down from 83 to 58? What happened? Because the panic which was there, that sheer volume of selling which was there, is now seeming to have taken some sort of a halt before it falls again. So what happens?
For the benefit of, Jagdish, sorry to disturb you and stop you. So for the benefit of this audience and people who are watching, can you explain what is VIX? Because now VIX has taken a major shift from what it was and what it is. Can you please help us understand that?
VIX is nothing but a calculation of the index based on the volatility. Okay, it's also called the fear index. When the fear is more, when the panic is more, like when you're panicking, what happens to you? You do things which are, erratic, irrational, and that's exactly what the market does. The market is the greatest place where you can learn human psychology. It is the greatest psychological experiment going on in the world, because millions of minds are put into the market, and this is the only market where you will sell and I'll buy, and both feel we are right at the same time. So what more can you expect? It's the ultimate of collective psychology which you can ever come across. You got it?
And why do people buy and sell? I mean, in the sense, why do stocks go up and why do stocks go down?
It's as simple as that. It's demand and supply. It's as simple as that. To give you a small analogy, right? Okay, now today you just came to know that Modi ji was going to announce. Suppose he's going to on next Sunday. Suppose you feel that the lockdown is not going to be extended. It's going to fizzle out and we can get back to work. So what will you do? Will you rush to purchase anything? Will you, suppose if the person comes and gives you groceries at a particular price, will you wait to buy or will you rush to buy?
If he is stopping, I mean, if everything is going to be normal, I'm not going to rush.
Okay, so now imagine that you're standing with the grocer outside your gate, and he's come there and he's got this whole thing of vegetables, and he's got a radio going on the side. Okay. And at that point of time, as he's talking to you, you tell him, boss, tomorrow no lockdown, you won't get your price. Today, whatever you sell to me, tomorrow I can buy 10 times this. So will he be in a hurry to sell to you? What's his bargaining position?
Right.
He doesn't have bargaining position. He'll say, sir, take it, sir, today. because he also knows at the back of the mind, tomorrow he can buy it cheaper, right?
Right.
So you will bargain with him and say, okay, I want this price, and he may possibly give it to you. As you're going around picking what you want, there's a news on the TV, on his radio, which says the lockdown mostly is going to continue because of news flash. And you go to him and look at him. What does he tell you?
Right.
He's going to tell you, sir, I'm sorry, I can't give you this much again. So what happened? The price changed based on the news. So basically, look at the whole thing being like, it's like a continuous play of demand and supply on a bed of events and news. As the news comes, so the demand changes. As somebody comes, into the market, so the demand and supply changes.
Jagdish, if I can ask you this, the counter to this, as many people say, is news is always late news.
Not necessary. If news was always late news,
definitely not with Corona for sure.
No.
But
no.
with
For most of the buy on rumor, sell on news is a different adage altogether. But when the news occurs, there will be a reaction. It is like this: if there's a patient who is really terminally ill, people won't cry. The moment he gives his last breath, oh God, as if something has happened. What happened? Nothing. He was going any moment. The doctor also told you bring the relatives and stay around, right? So there is a reaction to a news. Please understand that can never be discounted, and the market will react. And because again, you may not react as a seasoned trader. I may not react. I may wait for looking at it as an opportunity. But for the rest of the people, it's like hell has broken loose.
True.
So it's something like that.
So on the same topic that you just said, so if traders can now learn and see how to navigate this, can they survive this and thrive this?
Yes, obviously, but there are certain rules to that.
Okay, and investors is a long-term game. So that's where the game is.
Again, investors, to give you small levels, what you could possibly look at, could be something like the first level. What you could look at was the previous bottom which you had at 7,500. That incidentally was a historic bottom earlier. If you go check your charts, you'll find out.
Was that in
another bottom?
Ars event?
No. It was quite recently. So So you've made a sort of 7,528 or something, if I remember clearly. The next one after that is 6,900. The next one after that is 6,200. And beyond 6,200 is where the panic actually sets in, and that's 5,250. So if this is the way the market will unfold, my question to an investor is, do you have the stomach to hold till 5,250? If not, why don't you sell on rises and try to buy back cheaper?
Wow. Okay.
Because this may happen, may not happen, but even if it goes to 6.9, even if it goes to 7.5, it's still some money saved than what it is today. So what you have to look at is...
just to get some clarity in what you're saying, what should a mutual fund guy do now? Somebody who has invested in mutual funds,
see, again,
since he could not exit because of the sudden crash that happened,
the point
should he
is,
now look to exit?
If he doesn't need the money, which is the whole sole purpose and objective of keeping in mutual fund, I think he shouldn't try to time it. You can't see either. It's like having a cake and eating too. Don't do both. You decide what you want to do with the cake. You want to eat it.
Right.
You want to keep it. But don't talk about, oh, I want to see it, I want to smell it, I want to keep it, I want to eat it, I want to smell it. That doesn't work.
So second question, Jagdish, is for somebody, a beginner or somebody who's starting now, how big an opportunity is this for them? It can be millennials. It can be somebody who's wanting to start now in their stock market journey, because now they are getting shares at better price. Nifty itself is at 18, 19 now, which is the average of the entire from 93 to till now. I mean, what is your view on this?
See, personally, I feel the pain has to subside for you to see some. So right now, it's like a building on fire. You can't make out what exactly the damage has been done. Till a little bit of water is put, till a little bit of smoke clears out. So it's all in chaos right now. So for me to hazard a guess, the best thing to do is if you're day trading, it's great, provided you're doing in smaller quantities, provided you're doing in stocks which are having volumes. You're not doing you're not trading in penny stocks. Hopefully you are avoiding to trade futures, because that could wipe you out in one particular day, in one movement, in a matter of 2 minutes. Because the markets are volatile, the markets are swinging, and there is no volume, there is not lack of participation in the markets. So knowing what you're trading in, this pitch is super fast. You can't take your eye off the ball once during the market.
On both sides, on the profit side also, it can be very fast profit. On the loss side also, it can be very fast side.
Your mark to market, if you just keep on seeing after you've taken positions, it will just be
one out of the box question, Jagdish. One out of the box question is, with this pandemic or something, is there a possibility of stock markets being closed?
Frankly, I don't believe in stock markets being closed, because of one reason: it sends the wrong signal to the economy. Two, liquidity is already drying up. And what is the liquidity which you have today? Today, assuming a patient is, somebody needs money desperately, can I deny him that he should be able to not liquidate his assets and get his money out? And
not at all.
More so. So this becomes a lifeline for people as well. So, maybe you have other assets, but you cannot liquidate them. Maybe you even have physical gold. You cannot go to a jeweler and give it right now. Maybe you have gold in your house. You can't go to Muthoot Finance and pledge it. This is a different time, but he can definitely call his broker or go online through his handle, make the sale, get the RTGS, and make the payment.
Wow. Got it.
So you please understand, this is how vital the financial sector is to the market, to the economy. And so one more thing, understand, when you close the market, you build up risk. Because you will suppose you stop here, and after 15 days you open here. What happens to this gap? How many people can afford paying the mark to market? How much margin will you collect?
Got it.
And what if it's other way around? Again, how much margin? So somebody is going to lose, because as you know, futures and options are zero-sum game. Anybody is making, somebody is losing, equal and opposite. So either here or here, you're going to lose money. The broker is always going to be under risk, and that risk is inherent in the system. So why do you want to? It's like you are deliberately trying to keep the markets, shut, and you're building risk. Suppose if you're not able to open after a month, suppose it gets worse after 2 months.
Afford to shut down the stock market.
No, I'm just telling you now. Suppose now this lockdown continues for another 1 month. Now imagine if you had closed 21 days back, what would have happened?
Right.
So 21 days plus say another 21 days, 42 days if the market is closed.
Right.
And if the market is swinging wildly, like the way it is moving now, what will be the gap between today and 42 days from today?
It will be very wide. Be very wide. Are you all with me?
So you are brokers will bust, client will bust. Whichever side, somebody is going to go bust. So this way they keep the liquidity alive in the market. They give you the much needed, and they keep the risk level low of your outstanding.
So Jagdish will quickly take some questions. So people are asking some questions, and 1 second, let me pick up the first question. So what to do for long-term investor in this situation? Did we answer that already?
See, I think long-term investors should definitely look at buying in stages. And when they're getting some good profits in between, they should also take those profits. Don't keep profits on the table too long, because you will get those rallies. You'll get those, beautiful rallies, and you should be trying to sell against that with your own stocks.
Got it. So there is next question here, Jagdish. If you are am I audible now?
Absolutely.
Okay. So Gulab Chand the Dugar is his name, and unfortunately, he claims to have been losing for the last 12 years. So he's asking how can he recover his profits.
My only one humble submission to him is, Gulab Chand ji, just answer this one question to me, and this will give you your answer to your question. Whatever is your answer is what you take home. What are you taking home at the end of the day? What are you carrying forward in your positions at the end of the day? Are you carrying forward profitable positions, or you're carrying forward loss-making positions?
I think he's here, but not here. Learnings, yeah, Ram says learnings. I'll take the next question, but can you please answer him? I think he
Yeah.
हिंदी में आप बोल सकते हो क्या उसको कि
हाँ
what
आप
can he?
या इन हिंदी गुलाब चंद जी कि आप घर क्या लेके जाते हो, एंड ऑफ द डे आप क्या लेके जाते हो घर में? आपके पास प्रॉफिटेबल पोजीशन भी रहते हैं, लॉस मेकिंग पोजीशन भी रहते हैं। क्या आप प्रॉफिटेबल पोजीशंस कभी घर लेके जाते हो या लॉस मेकिंग पोजीशंस घर लेके जाते हो? जो आप घर लेके जाते हो वही आपकी रिजल्ट होगी।
Powerful, powerful. Okay, insight. Okay. So the next question is AMJ is asking, what point is market bottom?
If you ask me, I think 5250 should be, but
Okay.
sounds foolish because no expert can predict the bottom because
Yeah,
things are
that's what I
dynamic.
was about to say.
Yeah. So, but looking at whatever my experience is, personally, I feel that uh, that could be 5250 could be a panic bottom where we could come.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect it, but yes, based on all the calculations, this could be where it could come and maybe test it. Now, how far is
Okay.
that? That's pretty far. How possible
Mhm.
it is? Maybe a 20% chance. Not, I don't give it more. But what else could happen? 7.5 can definitely get tested again, and 6.9 could be again one more panic. So these
Got it.
two, I'm quite in line that markets could come there, and once this pandemic goes uh, as it is, it's growing day by day. So we really don't know what it shapes up. But trust me, one thing: the day this is put behind you, you'll see a V-shaped recovery in the economy. And people say the recovery will be slow. I beg to differ. I feel the recovery is going to be double as fast, and you will find people who are hungry for jobs, hungry to get back to work, hungry to start their lives again, hungry to just put together, what they've lost and get back in action. And that time, not only India is looking at you, the world is looking at making a second base in India. The world is looking at uh, you have lower interest rates today, so you have lower crude prices today. So the recipe of the ingredients which are required for a great rally are already there. The question is, let the patient walk out of the ICU. Trust me, after that he'll zip away.
Wow, very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. We will take this question and then probably we'll see if there are any other questions, because this is something that everybody is thinking, asking, and we spoke about this. And who better than you can to answer this? From the fundamental analysis, from the current market analysis, what are the couple of stocks or industry or sector we should keep an eye on? And what are some of the stocks that can give us like multi-bagger returns?
The first thing what you need to look at is what's going to happen in the future. So yes, one of the comments is that okay, the market took 2 years to recover in 2008. 2008 was a financial collapse where the whole financial economy was broken. This time it is a pandemic. It's more to do with health, and just look at it. In 2008, I could not fix it by giving you something, but 2020, if a vaccine is proved successful in maybe 2 months' time, do you know the day that news comes out, what will be the markets like? Do you think they'll wait for everybody to get vaccinated?
Can it be the reverse of what we saw in the fall?
Your guess is as good as mine, but what I'm trying to tell you is what could happen. Things can, and mind you, today the whole world, I'm not saying anything else, but the whole world, there's only one challenge: how to come out with a vaccine, how fast. So it's a race against time, and right from 190 nations, maybe I think 100 nations would be right now in the R&D laboratories, each one hammer and tongs trying to break through. So it's never before has the entire earth literally concentrated on one particular disease and to break through in that. So I'm extremely optimistic that we will get something really fast, and I'm just waiting that the doctor comes and says, yeah, I think the patient is getting stable today. That's it, and you watch the difference. Yes.
Two
So
questions. One, counter what you are saying, which is as soon as the vaccine comes, we will have an unprecedented. We might have an unprecedented bull run. because of the hopes and the other stuff that it will instill. On the contrary, people are saying it takes a lot of time to lab testing, to side effects, to all of that stuff.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But desperate times, please understand, you don't need the same solution as what you created the problem with. So now what will happen is things will get accelerated. US FDA will say, now you have two choices. Wait for 6 months to test on labs and this and that. Already some vaccine is working on mice. They'll say, you have a choice. Do you want to today get tested? Do you want to try it out? Maybe they'll agree. Because these are unprecedented times. One person is dying a minute and you want to wait 6 months for you to give you a vaccine?
We cannot. Our healthcare system. See, that's how. So the way I am looking at it, Jagdish, is the current life. I mean, whatever new will be new normal. I mean, we are going to see different things altogether. The way of doing business, the way of talking, the way of eating, the way of going out. There is going to be a new normal altogether for sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So can you please answer somebody who was asking, what are some of the sectors and the stocks that they should keep an eye on now?
See, the first thing is all of you all have stocked up, right? Now, when the lockdown was announced, so you knew that, okay, you need to stock up. So everybody's tried to stock up. Now, what were the things you stocked up? Buy those companies which owns those brands.
Groceries, the toothpaste,
whatever, FMCGs, groceries, whichever are those top brands which are dealing in those. Second, what you could also look at is look at this thing. First is that look at healthcare.
Hygiene.
Yeah, look at healthcare, and in healthcare, look at everybody stocked up on medicines as well. So yes, there is a small gap here because there is a lot of supply deficit which is coming from China, because once this virus came into the picture, everything has got disrupted. So the whole world went into a demand shock because there's a lockdown. So the demand falls, and there's a supply shock because people are not getting the required material to make things. So, and then a market shock. The market collapses because there is there's suddenly no activity which is happening. So all these things suddenly start happening. But yes, pharmaceuticals is still a very, very safe bet to go in the market. Logistic is another sector which you could look at. Hygiene, yes, any company dealing with any of the chemicals, manufacturing, distribution, of chemicals which are in the hygiene sector, because next time we'll be shaking hands, I'm sure you'll have a sanitizer with you, or maybe a pocket one. And that's going to be the new normal, and that will be taken as it's okay. It's just like applying your perfume. So that's how it's going.
So I did one study before I wanted to talk with you today, Jagdish, which is India is poised to be in a good position because its exports compared to other countries' exports are lesser, and because of which the financial situation compared to other countries is not going to be that bad. What is your view, and can you enlighten more on that?
Yeah, one thing is our borrowings per GDP percentage wise is less compared to Canada, US, Australia, all of these countries. So we are in a much safer position. Number two, our own domestic demand is enough to keep us alive for some time. So, so from that angle, if you look at it, third, of course, our current infection rate, and let's hope for a great summer, keep it even lower. So, they're talking of temperatures rising to 36 in North India in the next 10 days. So, all these things hopefully start, keeping us at lower figures than the rest of the world right now. And if, this continues, it's definitely a positive sign. And we should not be affected. Plus, as you told, everybody, one more thing, the whole world is now, I would not say anti-China, but definitely a little, looking at them with eyes of suspicion, like what these guys are up to. We don't understand these guys anymore. So what happens as a manufacturer, as a person who's sourcing out, whether in the rest of the world, 16% of the global GDP was hogged by China. Now, it's India's time to take a little bit of that out. And people are definitely going to look at India. So that also is, I believe 200 companies are already planning to shift base here. So things are happening, albeit slowly. Everybody is on the wait and watch, waiting for the, as I told you, the first sign that all the critical vital organs are stable. BP is stable, heart rate is stable, pulse is stable, and all things are stable. The moment you start seeing the flattening of the curve, and that's when you will know that okay, now don't expect the pandemic to rise. Again, there could be three scenarios to this. First scenario being that it flattens out and we get control over it, which sounds very optimistic. I agree. If that being the scenario, markets are up in 6 months. The second scenario, if it extends beyond now and it continues till maybe winter, then what happens is you have another 1 year to wait for the markets to. The third thing, which is even more scarier and which of course I don't would like to think about it, is that the cases start getting repeated. That means guys who turn positive start showing symptoms again. And that is stomach churning. Trust me, I don't know what to think about at that point of time. That happens, then that will be the new normal. That will be the new thing, because it won't come into control so easily. And it will just keep on recurring and recurring and recurring, and possibly I don't know how humans are going to take it then. So that could linger then more than 2 years. So these are the three situations which we look at. Keeping just a good perspective, I've given myself a year, and looking at, okay, if I have the stomach till 5,250, then I hold on. If not, I get out even now and try to wait to catch the, buy it cheaper again.
Awesome. Any other closing questions? If anybody has any questions, Ram has been asking how long, according to you, hypothetical question, approximation, how many years? You answered that 1 year.
Yeah.
So because 2008 it took 2 years.
Yeah.
Right. And
Because,
any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, that I feel a little optimistic here only because I feel that there could be something where the world will have some control over it in the next 6 months at least. So giving it 6 months to 8 months to get control, maybe another 4, 5, 6 months to start bouncing back. That's about it.
No, I mean this is what the way I look at it is. I mean, I've seen only one crash, which is 2008, but I've seen it very closely. I've heard stories of people committing suicide because I was helping IT companies, and IT companies were the number one companies to get hit in terms of job freeze, hiring freeze, and all of that, job loss, and all of that stuff. Having seen that, and seeing now, okay, the way I am looking at is the way you do business will change, but businesses have to happen. Okay,
absolutely,
you might work
absolutely.
more from home. Okay, you might do more work from home, but you'll have to work. So different kinds of businesses will pop up. More online can become very, very common. Okay, so Sandesh is asking in the meantime, can we see few upper circuits in coming days if vaccine comes?
Definitely.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
We've never seen two nifty circuits in a quarter, or possibly in a year. Why can't we see the same two circuits upwards if the vaccine is approved?
Look at it, Jagdish. I mean, I have been talking about Black Swan for 12 years, and I had not seen it. You know about Black Swan, right? The metaphor for unprecedented event, or the scene that we have not seen it. So I've been talking about it because that's the lineage that I come from, the probabilities and all of that stuff. So this is the first time I'm actually seeing the real backspan happening in front of our own eyes. The more number of gap downs happening over again and again, which has not happened in the past. In fact, I have a report on that. Many first times have happened. The fastest crash and all of that stuff. So from here onwards, at least if we keep ourselves up as human beings, and that's the best way to fight this. What do you say? From the human being's perspective, from life perspective?
Let me give you an analogy from Warren Buffett, nobody else. He says if you're not an optimist, then the stock market is not the place for you to be.
I think we need 2 seconds to digest this, because traders or investors have to be compulsorily optimists.
Yeah, I mean, if I know that if I feel that I'm going to die tomorrow, then what's the use of living today? That sort of shamashana vairagya, as they say, comes into you, and it's very easy to get caught in by those circumstances because that's what you see around you. But please remember, as I told you, the markets are different from what you see. The markets were going up when the economy was going down, and now when these figures are going up, the pandemic figures are going up, the markets are still supporting. It's not falling the way it should have. So there's something different. The market knows much better than you and me. And all we need to do is understand that. And I'm even telling you that even if you sell or whatever, above 9,500, this time it goes. And it'll stop briefly at 9970. And after that, we'll see a new high.
Oh.
So,
okay, so there's one final question, and we will.
But till then, we are in bearish territory. It sounds optimistic. It sounds good to hear. It sounds pep talk. Money is drying up. Keep your liquidity. Understand that the markets can fall further. Keep your powder and liquidity dry. Don't invest everything in one go. Stagger your investments. Go in for good stocks. Don't bet on donkeys. Don't average stocks which you have bought in the past. Go in for good stocks. Yeah.
Right.
Trust only good stocks. As I told you, you can bet on a donkey once. Don't go and buy a second donkey with the first donkey. At least buy a derby horse the second time.
All of you type gold in the comment box if you think it was gold and valuable. Type gold in the comment box. Okay. So final question, and we will wrap it up. Jagdish, thanks a lot for. The question is: do you feel this big fall in the market will change the mentality of the traders and investors in the coming days? According to me, it has already changed.
In what way? Like mentality?
I don't know. I mean, what he is asking, I don't know. Mentality in the sense, the way they look at markets, the way they expect from the market.
As I told you earlier, we are amidst a great psychological experience and experiment which is going on. So we are determined by our circumstances. As we talk today, and if tomorrow morning, if there's great news coming on the corona side, you and me will not be having this sort of conversation again. So your mentality changes as per the weather. Your dress changes as per the weather. When you go for a wedding, you wear formals. When you go to the Goa beach, you're not going to wear Kanjivaram saris and all that. You change. So we will change. And let's be clear. Human beings have adapted as a species. And the reason we have been one of the most successful species is because we have adapted and we were able to change. And that is your essence. And keep that in mind. Never take a rigid stance on anything in life. Be like a bamboo, because a bamboo will never get uprooted. Whereas the biggest oak tree, however strong it is, if the winds hit it, it has to fall. There's no way about it. So don't be stubborn with the markets. You're, after all, just not in a fish. You're a tadpole in the ocean. And if you understand you're a tadpole in this ocean, you will understand how small you are and how big and vast this ocean is. And no ego at all with the market. No panga with the market at all. Market is supreme. Bhav Bhagwan hai. That's all.
My God, that's like the craziest advice I have been getting. I've got in my entire life. Okay, on the stock market, on life, on the way how we should look at ourselves, how we should, while looking at the reality without neglecting the reality, how we can rise up. So I want to thank from my side and everybody. All of you type thank you in the comment box and I want to thank all of you for being here, patiently participating and giving us the energy. Thanks a lot, and wonderful to see all of you. Jagdish, it has been a pleasure talking to you on a topic that everybody wanted to listen, and especially on a time that all of us are isolated at homes. It's a time that we should come online, talk, discuss, debate, fight on views, which is okay. So it's better than the isolation at home. And you would have seen me playing with my kid because that's the work from home this thing. So thanks a lot again, and maybe we'll see you in one more next episode on a completely different topic when the markets change on this side or that side. And thanks a lot once again. See you all. Bye.
Done. Thanks, Shankar, and thanks to all your people now for having me here. And one final thing, I would like to leave all your listeners and viewers with. When you can't go outside, go inside, and keep that in mind. Go in, make yourself learn what you have to, develop the skills you need to, because this time you will remember and you'll tell your grandchildren about it. So these are things you document it well and learn what you can.
Do
All
you
the best.
think, Jagdish, last word, do you think this on the planet Earth, this is the best time to invest on yourself, learn, upgrade, upskill?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Jagdish. With that, let's close this, and thanks everyone for being here. Let's catch up very, very soon. Bye.